Do you want to do a roll call real quick?
Oh, yeah, no, I forgot about that. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, awesome. I'm not looking at any of the official letterhead, so it won't be in alphabetical order. I'll just do it as I see you. Alice Licato here, Dina Gergis,
Here.
Alan Aha,
Here.
Simeon Stoltzberg,
Here.
Vito Labella,
Here.
Inga Smolyar. She here? Inga? No?
Not yet.
Okay. Yifang Chen,
Here.
Mauricia Cadillo.
Here.
Okay, Robert Aguilar let us know that he was not able to make it tonight, and I think that is everyone.
Oh my God, Alice.
Oh,
Come
Adele
on.
Boyle. I don't see your
Oh my
face. That's why. I'm so sorry. You're here.
Thank you, Alice. I don't take it personally.
Okay, that's it.
Great, thanks, Alice. Okay, that said, let's get started. We're going to start with the public speaking session as we discussed, 3 minutes per speaker. So Natalia, do you want to list out the first two that we have who signed up? You're mute, Natalia.
Thank you. I always forget that I'm on mute. Okay, I have Julie Blicker and Stephen Stowe.
Great, so we'll start with Julie. Julie, are you here? Okay, we can start with Stephen, and then if Julie comes, we'll let her go next.
Okay.
Hi, I'm unmuted. Yeah, I just wanted to share my comments on how our experience has been so far, and then just share some general thoughts on education in the district. We have a son at McKinley. Overall, we've been really pleased. The communication has improved a lot after a slow start. There have been frequent emails updating us, daily attendance reminders. The assistant principal and parent coordinator have both been really responsive. Haven't needed to use the website very much. We had a recent change in our living situation that requires us to relocate for a number of weeks, and the transition from blended learning to remote was very smooth for our son. Minimal changes in teachers as a result of that, which was really nice. He's getting about 3 hours a day of live instruction, which we really appreciate. The one thing I'll say is I hope that over time there are more opportunities for interaction with classmates in the academic setting. I expect that'll come with time. And just one comment I have reading about schools around the country, there are some in which I know teachers are teaching classrooms where the teacher is on video. And you know, even in an environment like that, it seems like there's some advantage to having kids still getting together, even if the teacher can't be physically present. And so I just encourage you to keep that in mind. So overall, we're very happy. And then just sort of some thoughts, I guess, on the reopening process in the district. I just encourage the council to keep identifying best practices for the ultimate transition to in-person learning. And I think that there's some pretty strong consensus on safety protocols across the country now. We all know about masks, social distancing, et cetera. You know, some of the gaps in technology that the council has discussed regarding broadband, iPads, keep monitoring those. Those are things that I think are just really important to keep working at as we continue to transition from remote to in-person, and it will not be a smooth transition, no. And then I guess just sort of a couple of thoughts on, you know, a thing that I would really hope we all keep in mind is that public education in a time like this is under some pressure. There have been declines at major school districts across the country, as you guys probably know. I was looking at LA USD and Clark County, Nevada, losing students in this environment. And I just encourage the district, the council, to keep in mind that it's really important that we try and stay competitive, quite frankly, and sort of look at public education as a service that is a really valuable service and has to stay competitive with these alternatives that other parents may be considering.
Thank you,
And
Stephen. Sorry, time beat.
that's-
But if you want to finish your sentence, yeah. Thank you. Natalia, you're muted. Are we going?
Okay, stop. Hey, so did Julie come in? Julie Blicker? Myra Gonzalez? Hey, Alex?
Here, let me just unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So first I'd like to say, I think the remote learning is going pretty well this semester. I definitely see some improvements from previous school year. There are a couple of things though that I would like to see more broadly from the DOE. So one is, I feel like, you know, we've been in this situation with COVID now for, I don't know what it is, I guess like 6-7 months. And, you know, I mean, obviously it's still, you know, uncertain how long this will last. And I feel, you know, it makes sense to me that initially the DOE was sort of reactive to a very difficult situation. But what I would like to see is I would like to see a more discussion of like scenarios. Like, for example, if this went on, you know, longer, you know, what would learning look like? You know, what kind of plans, you know, do we have if, you know, we have to shut the school system back down? Because, you know, I mean, I think these are all things that, you know, have to be seriously considered. And if they're not, you know, we may find ourselves in a situation where, you know, we're being reactive rather than proactive. And then along those lines, the other thing which I'd also like to see is more, so my son is in 8th grade at Christa McAuliffe. And the other thing which I'd also like to see is maybe more guidance around the whole high school application process. You know, we haven't really seen anything about that. And, you know, obviously we want to be able to, you know, to plan for next year. So that's the feedback that I have. I mean, I've been a little bit disappointed that there's been no guidance around that at all. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Alex. Natalia, can you just post the form again for people who've come in late? I accidentally posted the Zoom link and it's redirecting people.
Okay, hold on.
In the meantime, I think we had Julie who signed up. Is Julie here yet?
Myra? Okay, Sana Big, I don't know. Sorry.
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for taking me. My only concern is as far as the remote learning, I have like 3 kids and the remote learning for them so far is going very smoothly. They are having live sessions with their teachers, but the only thing that they are facing as far as the remote learning is that they don't have books. And so far, we don't know if they will be getting physical books. They are trying to get them books in PDF form, but everything is in thin air. And the other thing I'm concerned is that one of my daughters is in 5th grade. She's in PS 229, and the other one is an 8th grader in Christa McAuliffe. We have no idea about the middle school and the high school applications, which is like freaking me out and my kids out. We don't know how they will be conducting the admission this year. And I don't know, but it's kind of pushed. There's no word on it. And that is something which is of my concern. I think parents at this time, they should have an idea of the route that they are supposed to take with their kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sana.
Okay. So Paulette Healy and Diana Brogan. Diane? Okay. Moda?
Oh, hello.
Hi,
Hi,
Diana's
Diana.
here.
Hi, this is Diana. Thank you. I just wanted to talk briefly about a concern that is personal for me and also from parents that I've been hearing from at my school about the in-school COVID testing. I just wanted to say that I find that it's problematic that any invasive procedure would be performed on my child outside of my presence. And particularly for parents of elementary students who may be frightened, children of any age with sensory issues, but it really should be alarming for parents of all children who are hopefully being taught that no one has the right to touch them without mom or dad being there to watch over them. And a lot of parents feel strongly that schools should not be normalizing any message to the contrary. Most of the parents I've spoken to with this concern are perfectly happy to submit to testing, but on their own terms, where they could at least be present or take their child to a doctor of their choice and then submit the results to the school. I know that Senator Gennardez is here tonight and he has expressed support for that position. And I hope that there will be some changes to that policy as soon as possible. I appreciate everybody's time. Thanks.
Thank you, Diana.
I'm here. You guys can hear me.
Yes,
Paulette
I can
Healy.
hear you. Yep, go ahead, Paulette.
I'm so glad I came after Diana because she pretty much took all the words out of my mouth. So thank you, Diana, for speaking so eloquently about the infringements against civil liberties that our families are up against right now with this, with the nonsensical guidelines that are being sent about random testing. The fact that parents need to choose whether it's pretty much not giving them an option. It's like you either choose to let them be tested or you keep them home. And instead of like having that kid who is being chosen quote unquote randomly, just move on to a different child. I mean, I don't understand why there's so much policing in this particular guideline. Also, there is nothing in the guidelines about who is implementing these protocols, who's actually administering the tests. We would assume it would be a school nurse, but we all know in District 20 and in schools all across the city that the nurse shortage still has not been addressed. There are tons of buildings that are still waiting for nurses. I'm not even talking about schools, because when you talk about schools, it's criminal how they're allowing one nurse in the building if there's 5 co-located schools in that location. So that's like an inequity issue all in itself. However, the health pledge that our chancellor had made to our families has not been upheld. And to force this consent out to families when, as Diana so eloquently had said, we are teaching our children that they need to have control of their bodies. And if we are going to allow a random stranger, or as we're hearing, you know, rumors, because no one's giving us an answer about it, that it's the school safety officers that are actually implementing the tests. First of all, our school safety officers have way more than they need to handle on their plates right now. And a medical test needs to be done by a medical professional. And that needs to be incredibly clear before we go forward with any type of random testing being done on school property. And I greatly appreciate Senator Gennardez being one of the first politicians to speak in favor of our families and in support of our families, and recognizing that our rights we have a huge risk of our rights being violated right now. And just for those parents who are on the call who have concerns about enrollment in high school, for both high school and middle school, we hear you, but the chancellor has already said publicly that he is not going to have guidance until late October or early November. And if you're looking for answers about what that's going to look like, I suggest you write directly to the chancellor and let him know that. Thank you.
Thanks, Paulette. You're muted, Natalia. Who's next?
Okay, so I didn't have anyone else sign up?
Okay, let's first go back to the ones we missed. Maybe they came in who did not speak, and then we'll open it up with a hand raise.
Yes. So we have Julie, Myra, and Moda. Bye.
Okay, and you could see the hand raise, Natalia. If someone wants to speak, they can raise their hand.
Yeah.
Does everyone know how to do that?
Hi, can I speak with the teacher, please?
Sure, go ahead. Can you just tell us your name? Sorry, because we can't see you.
Yes, my name is Augusto Yax. You know, I'm the father for Ruben Yax Garcia.
Great, thanks. You can go ahead.
Yes, my complaint, you know, because I was calling for the office to the school 176 Ovington. So they told me they sent it to me the application for the kids to his go to the school, but they don't send me nothing in my email. And the reason why I complain because I want to my son he's going to the school. You know, they keep him home, but the problem, you know, we have a situation. My wife she didn't speak English, and I speak English, but it's not very well, you know. But we need my son he's gonna go to the school, but that's why I was calling to the office. They told me so they don't know how I'm gonna make the paper or the application for my son. So that's why maybe they can help me for that. And I don't know how I'm gonna do that. They told me they send it, but never I see something in my email. So if they send it to me, I should have to pull it up the application and I send it back, but never they send it for me. And I don't know how I gonna do now because my son he need the help. You know, he's not speaking English also very well, but because we speak Spanish, and I need some help for that. He's gonna go to the school because I want he's gonna learn something, and I don't know what you're gonna tell me for that.
Yeah, maybe there's, we can help you reach out to your school, or maybe Bill Chen or Celia or someone in the district office can.
Yeah, he would need to contact the Family Welcome Center because they are in charge of enrollment for all students. So their email, I'll say it and I'll put it in the chat. So it's brooklynfw@schools.nyc.gov.
Okay, when we check on the website, you know, and because they said the office is closed. Supposed to my wife, she's going to check today, but she say she checking the website, it's closed. So, and that's why I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But again, I told you, it's very shine because we don't speak like really English, you know, and we don't know how to read. We speak English, but it's not like really 100%. So that's why I was calling the school. I'm asking for some help. So,
So this is, yeah, I don't know, this is the CEC meeting. It's not this, I don't know if you thought you were calling the school, but this isn't the school number. I don't know, do you have the school phone number as well? If not, we can share that with you, and that way you can connect.
yes,
If you send an email tomorrow, I could put everything in email.
Do you, okay. I think maybe, Alice, are you talking? Because we can't hear you. No, it's not working. Yeah.
He could also email Bill. So William Chin is our family leadership coordinator, and his email is wchin1@schools.nyc.gov.
Okay.
Then I'm sorry. Can you give me a favor, please? But I don't know if you can help me for that. Can you send my email? So I think you have my email over there, or you don't have. If you give me a favor, I can give you my email. So can you send it for me?
Yeah, if you send an email to cec20@schools.nyc.gov, I'll
Yeah,
respond and put
I
everything
think
in
you
an
can do
email.
that. CEC20@schools.nyc.gov.
Okay.
Okay,
And
thank you.
okay, no problem. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. I don't have that anyone else.
If anyone else wants to speak, you can either use the raise hand function or there's a reaction button. You can, put a clap or a thumbs up and we'll go through and call your name.
Okay, so want to move on?
Well, let's give people a few minutes and see. Yeah.
There's one raised hand I see. iPhone guest.
Okay.
Okay. You can unmute them.
Oh, two.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Alejandra and my son goes to PS 164th Street. And my concern, well, I had two concerns. One of them was the coronavirus testing, but one of the parents already asked about it. And my second one is last year, when you guys, we all started doing the remote learning, I felt like it was a little easier. Right now, I'm noticing that, like kids, whenever they go to school, they see one teacher, and whenever they do remote learning, it's with a different person. But, like yesterday, my son had to go to the school. So he went to school, he did his work at school and everything. But on the Google classroom, they kept on sending homework, like, every single thing that the kids on remote learning were doing, they were sending it to him as well. So I am a working mom, and I had somebody taking care of him while I am at work, but I was telling them, like, you guys have to do the homework, like it says that it's missing. And he felt like he was a little bombarded with a lot of work. So is there any way that they can kind of do something about it, like whenever the kids go to school, they don't get any stuff sent to the app? Or like, how can we do this? Because I have the app on my phone also, and I'm noticing a lot of things are saying missing, but in reality he did this work at school. So is it something that we can fix with time? I know they just started and it's the second week, but it gets a little stressing. That's all I have to say.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Natalia, you want to go down the list? I mean, they all say iPhone, so it's hard to identify who, but we can unmute them and then they can speak. You're muted, Natalia.
So I'm seeing iPhones. I'm not seeing any raised hands.
Oh, I see it. Okay. Susanna Wong, she has her hand raised. We can unmute her. Yeah.
Hi. Okay. So maybe I'm misunderstanding this forum because I kind of just found this meeting last minute. But I guess I'll just go through my personal struggle of this. I've gone through 3 evolved schedule changes from my school with one of my kids, where meetings were just changed. We started off with, I believe, 4 classes spread out through the day. And then it evolved to, I believe, 2 classes, and then now a breakout smaller class session. It's just, within a span of 2 weeks, we went through all these schedule changes. And I say some of them are very last minute and the night before being conducted and then finding out the next day. I'd say the expectation from teachers that remote learning can be conducted by students is also invalid. When my kids cannot read the sentences for class, it involves me to read it for them. So although they go over the assignment and teach them, he can't read Independence Day. He's 5 years old and he has to capitalize the letter I. it's really difficult to say that teachers are helping when it comes to that, because as a parent, I know I need to be next to him so that he can do the work that they've told him that he needs to do. And at this point in my life, they don't know how to read the time either. So my 4-year-old and my 5-year-old cannot make it to class on time because they don't know what time it is. For them to make it on time, I have to make sure they get there on time. And that means I have to stop doing my work, get them on, make sure that they're okay. And it's for 10 minutes at a time. It drives me insane that I have to do this 6 times a day while I'm at work, just so that they can make it to their classes on time. And then for me to join my own meetings. And sometimes I watch these meetings and it's 30 people in a room and it's just noise and chaos. I don't even know why I'm doing it. There are people with kids in the background, TV in the background. They want the kids to participate, but it's impossible for them to converse or get answers. I've witnessed it where they tell the kids to raise their hands, but then the teachers cannot see the kid raising their hands because there's 50 people or 30 people. The teacher cannot see all the kids. They don't know who to call on. So it's just a matter of somebody blurring out, answers, and then there's 5 answers at the same time. I don't even know how they get through anything. I mean, this is just the things that I've seen during the 2 weeks. And I'm not even an active parent in all this. Like I have my husband helping me, but this is just my personal experience. And I'm glad to see other parents getting better experiences, but the first 2 weeks have been quite a struggle. And I do hope to see improvements. I just don't know what they are. But
Thank you, Susanna.
thank you.
Natalia, you're muted.
Bill is asking what school her child goes to.
Is that in reference to me? Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
104. And I'm not saying that they're doing a terrible job. It's quite a struggle. And I think if the expectations is for the parents and the kids to do all that, it's a little bit unrealistic. And I don't expect the teacher to fill that whole shoe either. But that common ground of just them thinking that the parents and the parents and the students can handle all this, and it's really, just that remote portion is working. It isn't. Honestly, I'm confessing.
Thank you. Okay, Natalia, you want to go to the next raised hand?
Okay. See, we have one iPhone.
Yeah, maybe just unmute them and.
Hi, can I say something?
Yes.
Hi, that's the first time I joined this meeting, so I'm not sure am I in the right place. My daughter tried to join the Google Class meeting a couple times that day, and is unsuccessful. So when I called the teacher, when I emailed the teacher told me she would be marked absent, but it seems that it's not now for. She had problem because she's using the DOE iPad, and the icon is not showing on the upper corner, so she's not able to join the class, and now she's been marked absent. It sounds it's not fair to her.
Thank you, Emily. I don't know if you've tried, but some schools are helping troubleshoot the devices. So if you're having a problem with the device that's not allowing your daughter to sign on, you can bring it to the school and see if they can help troubleshoot. Sometimes the system needs to be updated or something like that.
I did already. I did email the technician like a couple of times. My daughter did, I did, but there's no reply. And when I emailed the teacher say, unfortunately, like, is the policy, something like that. Like, she has to mark her absent, but it's like a couple of days in a row already. She cannot join, but it's so frustrated because she missed the classwork too. And then she had to do the homework. But without the class, how can she do the homework? She's not like on a class. So she missed her work too. She's so frustrated. Yeah. And same as me too. I'm so unhappy to hear that she was not absent.
Emily, can you tell us what school?
Mark Twain, IS 239.
Yes, you didn't. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so there's one iPhone that I'm having trouble unmuting.
Hey Bob, what is this?
Okay, if you are
Is there any cucumber in it?
No, zucchini. God bless you.
if you are an iPhone, if you registered into the meeting with an iPhone and you've raised your hand, we can open the mic to you. So we'll unmute you and you can speak. Okay. I don't see any other raised hands, but we still have time to hear. So if there's anyone who wanted to say something, please let us know. We'll wait another couple minutes to see if there's anyone else who wants to comment. You can do that by raising your hand or using typing it in the chat box or using a reaction.
Margaret, Yusuf.
I just want to say to the last parent who spoke that it's really important to get in touch with your parent coordinator and your administrators in the school if you're having a problem, because they can't fix it if they're not aware of it. But as soon as they're aware of it, I can promise you that they will probably act on it, because that's what we do as administrators and parent coordinators in the school. We're here to help you and support you. So if you're having that kind of a problem and you're so frustrated, it's really important that you get in touch with the administration and the parent coordinator first. But if that doesn't work, then definitely the administration of the school.
Great, thank you, Margaret. Oh, I see a raised hand, an actual raised hand. Calliope, I don't know if I pronounced that right, I'm sorry.
Yes, no,
Okay,
that's great, thanks.
Yeah.
So my son just started 6th grade at McKinley, and my older son has been at McKinley for the last 3 years, and I've had amazing experience. But my 6th grader, he has a very bad peanut allergy. And, he has to carry an EpiPen and Benadryl and stuff like that. So during one of the meetings that the principal held, I asked about the peanut allergy and how they would make accommodations, because I know that they're staying in the classroom and everyone has to have lunch there. I know that they're giving like go-to lunches and stuff like that to the kids that are not bringing lunch. And I was told that my son needed to stay home and do full remote because, they couldn't accommodate him. And I just really found that unacceptable, because my son, has been dying to go to McKinley. His older brother goes there. And, he wants to go to school, the boys started school today. I had all paperwork ready with him. I highlighted everything. Of course, he brought in his own lunch, and he was offered lunch today. He was offered a bagged lunch from the school today. I guess no one looked at the paperwork. I also reached out to the parent coordinator and to the assistant principal, and they're all telling me that, that if they were me, that they said if this was my child, I would keep him home. I wouldn't bring him to school, because we can't really do that. And that's, that's frightening for me. And it's also unfair. But because my son has an allergy, and I know he's not the only one, that they can't really do anything. So all I'm really asking for is that if someone in the classroom is, has peanuts or a peanut sandwich or whatever it is, that they just not sit next to each other. That was all that I requested. And the doctor put that on there. I'm not going to keep my son home because of that. And there's a lot of children that have allergies and stuff like that. So, I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know if other parents have experienced the same thing, or, I've done some research and there's not really any guidelines out there in the DOE about this with COVID now and the peanut. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else who'd like to speak? Again, you can raise your hand. Actually, raise your hand. You can use the raise hand button on Zoom or the thumbs up or emoji or whatever it is.
I do think we have one person who requested that we go slower. I guess some people are talking a little bit fast.
We'll wait another minute to see if anyone wants to comment. And again, if you've missed the comment portion here or were unable to share, definitely email us at cec20 at nyc.schools.gov and share any comments or concerns you have. Natalia, do you want to try reading out the couple of names that had signed up on the list, see if anyone joined, and then if not, we'll move on.
Okay, so we have Julie Blicker, Myra Gonzalez, and Moda.
Okay. Great. We had one comment in the comment box from a member who said that their mic isn't working, but they just want to thank the D20 staff and administrators. It's far from perfect, but I appreciate the efforts. So it's one comment shared. Great. I think we'll move on with the agenda then. And as I mentioned, if there's anything that you want to share, please use the CEC email and let us know. Natalia, can you pull up the agenda real quick? Great.
The senator has his hand raised.
Oh, okay. Well, we were just gonna get to him, but.
Perfect then, right?
I wanted to take a minute to welcome our special guest, Senator Gounardes, who's here with us, Janine Fausner from President's Council, Ellen Dresden, who's the District UFT rep. Let me get my list out to make sure I get everyone. Maya Elephant from Senator Gounardes' office, Dr. O'Brien, Interim Acting Superintendent, Sylvia Jasinski, the Family Support Coordinator at the District Office, William Chin, the Family Leadership Coordinator, Sean McLean, Field Support Coordinator, and Diane Gounardes, the CSA representative. And with that, I think we can move to the public officials. Maybe we'll switch things around a little bit, Natalia, and hear from the senator since he's on. I think your mic's, oh, can you unmute him, Natalia?
There we go. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for accommodating me and letting me pop on for a few minutes to say hello. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to our new interim superintendent, Joe. Looking forward to working with you over the next couple months. There's a lot to kind of talk about, I think, with our schools right now. And I think I speak for many folks in the neighborhood who have been very, very frustrated with the reopening and how it's gone and how it hasn't gone and a lot of the shortcomings. We could spend hours and days talking about that. I just want everyone here to know that my office is here to help navigate all of the complexities and confusion and questions that are arising. Just yesterday, we all found out about the consent waiver for the testing. I know a lot of parents were concerned about that and not being able to be there and not having the option to have your own family doctor do the testing. We sent a letter to the mayor and to the chancellor on that. But bottom line, I want everyone to know that whatever issue it is or wrinkle that exists in trying to figure this all out, we're all in the boat together, and I will do everything I can in my office. Will certainly do everything it can to help navigate us through this time and just make sure that we're getting the answers and the information that we need. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Senator Gounardes. Thank you for joining and sharing those comments. With that, I think unless council members object, we can continue to hear from any of our public officials and representatives that are present, and then move to the district office and comments from them. So with that, I think we also had on our list
Diane Gounardes.
Diane, yes. Thank you, Natalia.
Natalia, you'd like me to speak now, or do you want me to wait?
No, you can go ahead, Diane.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. I guess one Gounardes follows another Gounardes. But I just wanted to say hello on behalf of all of our District 20 administrators, all the principals and assistant principals, members of CSA. We've been working very, very hard trying to, navigate all the intricacies of this new type of learning. And I sympathize with parents who have to juggle their schedule to join classroom meetings, and then the schedules change. But that is also a function of the increasing numbers of parents who change their preferences as to whether they want remote learning or in-person learning. So it's a double-edged sword. Schools certainly want to operate on a regular schedule. I can speak for my program, which is the District 20 Pre-K program. We've had to change schedules as well, because we started off with having approximately 45% of our families wanting 100% remote instruction. Now we're close to 55 or 56%. So more and more parents are moving towards a remote model. And so that requires us to have to reschedule things and move teachers from one type of learning to another. And so it's something that we have to, it will work its way out. It's just a little bit difficult right now. I can tell you that everyone is committed to trying to offer the best education that we can to our children, and only in partnership with our parents and our administrators and our teachers can we get through this. So I also am available if anyone has any questions regarding pre-K. You can certainly email me, and I will put my email address in the chat. We operate all the District 20 pre-K centers in the district. That's 11 different buildings. We started off last week. We were the first ones to start with in-person instruction. And it's so great to welcome our children, our little ones, to school. They've done a wonderful job adhering to the new protocols. And we also offer a very, very robust remote-only instructional program. So we are looking forward to just getting better at this all the time. And I just hope that, everyone is able to navigate this new normal, because we have a lot to get used to. I thank you very much. And I'll turn the microphone back over to Dina. Thank you.
Thanks, Diane. And sorry, everyone kind of popping around, different people as I see them on my screen. So Natalia, you can help wrangle the list that we call out. But I did fail to mention that we had another member who joined us today, Donald DeRosa from the Staten Island, from Scott Stringer's office is also joining us. He's the Staten Island Borough Director and the Southwest Brooklyn Liaison. Donald, I don't know if you are here and you can unmute your mic and you'd like to speak and share with us.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. Once again, my name is Donald DeRosa. I'm from New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer's office. And as Dina mentioned, I am the Staten Island Borough Director, and I also cover Southwest Brooklyn. And I just wanted to come on and give some updates about the work that we've been doing over the last couple of months. And I also just want to thank CEC 20 for putting this together. It's really important that we hear from parents and advocates on the ground, because it drives the work of our office, and it really drives the work of any elected official's office. And there's really no better group of people to hear about what's going on than all of you. So I appreciate this forum, and I have been taking notes from everyone that's been speaking so far. But just to give you some updates over the last couple of months, excuse me, going back to June, the comptroller sent letters to the chancellor, and we really wanted to get some concrete answers on what the successes and failures of were remote learning, and to also get a comprehensive plan for reopening. And that was so important. And as some parents said, this evening, we don't know what's going to happen if we have to shut down tomorrow. We really don't have a full laid out concrete plan that we've heard of what's going to happen tomorrow, what can happen in a couple of months, what, following school years are going to look like. And we knew then, and we still know now, that there are deep disparities in remote learning as well as general education in the city pre-COVID. And we really wanted to get data to formulate what reopening and what schooling and education in the COVID era would look like. We have not gotten that data. Unfortunately, as some folks may know, the City Council actually just subpoenaed the Department of Education to get attendance records for remote learning and other data, because we need to know these metrics to understand what works and what doesn't work and what is the best way to move forward. Following that, in early July, our office, the Comptroller, put out a very broad, in-depth set of recommendations for reopening schools. And among other things, especially as we hear a lot about COVID testing in schools, we were promoting having basically a health safety director in every single school that reports right up to the DOE to go through any complaints about the health environment of school buildings, monitoring health safety protocols, and helping with understanding evolving public health guidance in all of our schools across the city. And more than anything else, we've been beating the drum on federal stimulus money for our city. As the chief financial officer of the city, we did face a very difficult budget a couple of months ago, and the following fiscal years, it is going to be very difficult for our city. And we desperately need the federal government to step up and help our city, to help municipalities around the country get through this. Additionally, something that we do every year is we put a school guide together, and we usually have our community affairs team throughout the city handing those out on the first day of school, but of course we did not do that. It is virtual this year, it's electronic. I will post that in the chat. It is available in English, Spanish, and Chinese, and it is just a broad-based guide that helps folks understand what's going on with reopening, to understand health, safety, and cleaning guidance, mental health and emotional wellness, as well as special education services for students. And last but not least, just a couple of weeks ago, we sent another letter to the chancellor prior to the start of the school year at that time to provide direct support for the over 100,000 school students that are homeless right now. We know that is a major problem. It's been exacerbated during this pandemic, and we urge the city to designate basically an interagency director of students in temporary housing that had the authority to meet the educational needs of such a vulnerable student population. And we really hope that we can continue to advocate for these immensely vulnerable students. This is very personal for the comptroller. He has 2 young children who are in public school. And as he says, it was a very difficult decision that him and his wife made to have his children do full remote learning because we really don't know what comes tomorrow. And it has been a very difficult couple of months. It's been a very difficult couple of weeks. And the future, we really don't know what it holds. But again, I want to thank CEC 20 for putting this together. It's really great to hear from folks on the ground to understand, what we are doing right, what we are doing wrong, and how we really, move forward and put our students and families first. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Donald, for joining and sharing with us today. I think I saw Ellen Treisen. Ellen, would you like to speak next? You're on mute. Oh, Natalia, can you help her unmute?
There we go. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, everybody. It's been a very interesting 6 months, and here we are going into this new school year. It's quite an adventure. I'm sure that you've heard about the community spread that's affecting some of our schools. We have had, the UFT has had bans for testing in front of several schools this week. Off the top of my head, it was PS 247, PS 179, IS 223. I think next week they'll be in front of PS 205, and they're testing staff, and they're testing kids if they're coming in, and their parents will sign off on it. It's not the required testing, it's just simply testing. There is a lot of concern. It is a very hard thing to teach children who are sometimes in school and sometimes out of school, or the family family needs change. Some of our schools have almost 90% of their students home, and some have 60 and 70% home, and it goes from, I think, 50% and up. And that shifting makes it for a very interesting year. I think it's really important that each of our schools and each of the teachers and each of the UF team members has been focusing on the emotional supports that children need right now. I want to remind you that you also need those things. It is a tough time for parents. It is a tough time for educators. And when you need help, you need to reach out for it. All in all, it's been, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't have that crystal ball. But if you ever have any questions having to do with the UFT, I'd be happy to answer any. Okay.
Great, thank you, Ellen. Okay, Natalia. Are we ready to, oh, you're on mute before you talk.
Yes, I guess we can move forward.
Great. So I think Janine, if you want to share next, and then we can move to our district reps. Great.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, CEC, for having this meeting. It is important to us as parents to know what's going on. My name is Janine Faustner. I'm the president of President's Council. President's Council is made up of all presidents of PTAs in the 41 schools of District 20. We meet the second Friday of every month to discuss issues as far as fundraising, elections, and other issues in the district. We have met this year with the COVID. We actually had meetings over the summer just to keep people calm and give them as much information as possible. Elections are going to be different this year. We're holding them virtually, which for most of us who aren't tech savvy like myself is a challenge. But the elections have to be held now before the 31st of October. We're gonna have to have PTA elections then the President's Council can then have their elections. And then CPAC, which is the Chancellor's Parents Advocacy Committee, and if I said that incorrectly, please excuse me, to have their elections. It's a lot going on in a short span of time. The guidelines were sent out between FACE and CPAC, so if there are any presidents out there on this meeting who need the guidelines or any help, we are here. I am one of 5 on officers. There's myself, there's Vito Labella, there's Danielle Mays, Diana Brogan, and Ana Aguilera, and so. But if anybody has any questions or comments, we do have a Facebook page. It's District 20 President's Council. My personal email, if you can have, is faustners@aol.com. And I thank all the principals that are on this meeting tonight, as well as our district people. And hopefully as a district, we can get through this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Janine. I think we'll move to our district reps now. And Dr. O'Brien, would you like to go ahead?
Thank you so much, Dina. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a tremendous honor to be here today, and thank you for having me. I'd like to say and just begin by sharing with you all that what has gone on over the last 2 weeks has been something truly remarkable. I've been working with each of the principals, the APs, and the teachers of our district, and what I've seen is nothing short of spectacular. They've taken an impossible situation and made it manageable. Now, there are problems, obviously. Never before has something like this ever been attempted. So I share with you tonight, I do have some updates and information regarding the random testing. The DOE, it seems, has backpedaled along the lines of what random testing looks like. And I placed in the chat for Dina and for Natalia to share with you a link to the updated DOE website. And I'd like to read that for you right now. What it states is that one question that's been burning in my mind is who is going to be conducting these random tests, and the information shares that this testing initiative will be conducted by our partners at New York City Health and Hospitals, the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, and the New York City Track and Trace Corps. Further, and probably right to Ms. Brogan's point, it says that we want to assure you that if your child is selected for testing but is uncomfortable or unable to be tested, we will not test your child, and we will work with you to address any concerns. So I want to make sure that that information and knowledge is front and center to alleviate parents of this concern and this anxiety, because I feel that that is paramount at this time. And I'm happy to see that the Chancellor has listened to the families across New York City and has taken action. So Dina and Natalia, I hope you could share that link to the DOE website to our families. Additionally, I'd like to share along the lines of some of the questions that we had earlier in the chat with regard to the high school and middle school application process. Unfortunately, we do not have that information at this time. That comes from Central, and as soon as we get that, we're going to share that with the CEC, because I know that's on a lot of minds for families. Additionally, we heard about parents needing additional resources, such as textbooks and materials and resources. We want to ensure that you contact your parent coordinator right away to ensure that you get those resources that you need right away, because our children of this district deserve that. I'd like to thank Senator Gennardis for coming on today and once again showing his solidarity with our district. It's amazing. Thank you. Further, just recently, yesterday, we had our first Equity Committee team meeting, which I'm super excited about. We met with 19 families who have students from a diverse range of backgrounds across District 20 from multiple schools. And we took a positive first step in thinking about ways that we could usher in a new beginning for District 20 and thinking about all students in this initiative. With that being said, I'd like to once again reiterate just how terrific it is to have a community of learners in the district, such as your children, because they make all the difference in the world, and we miss them. And we hope that they attend school each day. And we know that the challenges around the health screening, where parents have to create that health screening document either in hard copy or online, is a challenge every morning for every child. However, it is essential, as well as face coverings. To have those face coverings on, no child or adult or teacher will be allowed into a DOE school without that face covering. So we want to make sure that we have clear communication to everyone, that if you are coming to a DOE school, that students and families, or any visitor for that matter, is following the protocols that the Chancellor set forth. Thank you so very much this evening.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. I wanted to just open it up to my fellow council members. If any of them had questions, feel free to jump in and ask.
Tina, can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great, awesome. Hi, it's Adele. I'm on the phone. I apologize for not showing my face. Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. I'd like to thank everybody for everything that was presented today. A couple of things stuck out. First of all, Diana and Paulette, thank you so much for bringing forward your concerns. Diana, I could not have said it clearer myself. I know, Dr. O'Brien, that this letter that's presented is meant to be reassurance to the parents, but from my mind, it's not. I really do not understand, considering how little time blended learning students are spending in school, why parents cannot be notified and bring their child to their pediatrician. I think it's a dangerous precipice where we're putting children in a place where their parents aren't there with them. Especially the age range that we're talking about. So from my own point of view, speaking for myself as a parent and a council member, I really do not see this as a reassuring methodology that we're using for COVID testing. And I'd like to assert a preference that parents are allowed to take their children to their own pediatrician. And the other thing that I wanted to ask you, in light of how I'm seeing learning unfolding in the schools, why or can we, Dr. O'Brien, have transparent learning objectives for each month of this is what your child is expected to learn? Because it's very difficult to support a child at home as a parent by just asking them what they did in school and not understanding what they were supposed to do in school. We're relying on students to be able to tell us, this is what my learning environment was. I understood it clearly, and I therefore was able, I did this, this, and this. I think if parents are provided with those transparent learning objectives, whatever the modules are that are being covered, this is the part of the curriculum. If you want to go 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then parents can be involved. But right now, I feel like I could ask my daughter anything, and she could tell me anything, and I'd have to nod in agreement because I don't know what she's supposed to be doing in school at this point. So I said it last year. I'd like to restate that, and I hope you can respond to that of how we can go about getting parents better situated to help their children at home to understand fully what, in my mind, what a 7th grader should know, what a 6th grader should know, what should be covered for each learning module. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Adele. So I'd like to just address 2 things that you shared today. So just let me reiterate, no child will be tested for COVID without a parental consent. And if a child or if your family is uncomfortable with that, I want you to let that be known to either your parent coordinator, your principal immediately, so that there is no confusion. We want to ensure that no one has to experience any additional anxiety around this. So let me reiterate, the DOE has created a new policy around this, which I received about 4 hours ago, and I posted it in the chat for Natalia and Dina, and they can share that with all families that are on the line. It's a link to the DOE website, which has the updated information. I want you to take some time to take a look at that, and I think that you'll see that it's different than what was released earlier in the week.
So Dr. O'Brien, just to be clear, so parents understand, does that mean if they feel uncomfortable to the point that they do not want their child subjected to this procedure, that would be acceptable?
That is a yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Doctor.
The second part of the question was learning about what your child is doing in school. And what I'd like to suggest for all families is to get in contact with your teacher. Your child's teacher has office hours every Tuesday that would be able to help facilitate that type of support so that the learning environment is matched by the home environment. My meaning is that it's so essential that the schoolhouse and the home are united in this front, and that it's only through that connection, that relationship, that we can hopefully could continue to create an environment where students are aspirational for learning, and that they are continuing on their path and their trajectory that they were on prior to COVID-19. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. Yes, I will do that. I appreciate that very much.
Great, thanks.
So
Alice,
Vito has his hand raised.
Okay. And then Alice, yeah.
Hey, Doc, how are you? Listen, I want to thank you for everything. I know you're doing some hard work. This just popped up. I don't know even if you're aware of it. I guess the faculty and staff at 164 has a petition to the mayor and the chancellor about COVID-19. They're concerned. I see that they're concerned because it's spiking in Sunset Park. And I was wondering if you could comment on that. I mean, there's some
Vito?
question. Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm going to wave my hand. It's Ellen Driesen.
Hello, Ellen. Just let me ask one question, then you can jump in and answer it.
Okay, because I want to answer that.
Please do it, Ellen. But the question is, can we maybe present a position to the chancellor or the mayor where instead of closing all the schools, we close schools by zip code? and then and go to remote, and that way we more flexibility. I guess you could, Ellen, you could jump in whatever you feel is appropriate.
I'm
and
gonna
Dr.
jump in for 164. 164 is in the middle of Borough Park. It is part of the Ocean Parkway cluster. All of those schools along that cluster are there's a big concern, and they are having testing being sent there. That letter is an amazing letter. It is not a petition. It is just simply a letter from all the UFT members there. It has been shared among the schools in that cluster that are affected by it. It actually includes schools, that cluster includes schools in 20, 21, and 22. There are about 80 schools. Those are the 80 schools that the UFT are focusing on, that we would like to see some steps taken, because they're way over 3%. And that's my 2 cents worth. Joe, you can go on from there.
So no, Ellen, so and is there any suggestion, Ellen, to close schools by zip code? And would that be a better strategy?
They are doing it by the cluster, and I think the clusters are identified by zip codes. I am not the health and safety person for the UFT, but we are looking, but when they contact me, they're talking about zip codes. It is, Sunset Park is not part of that Ocean Parkway cluster. So the zip codes that I'm getting the most information from are those over there: 11204, 112. I don't know. 11204 is one of them.
Yep. All right, Ellen. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Ellen. I was not aware of that petition, excuse me, or that letter. Just to get back to some of the other family comments, we had earlier a parent shared about being marked absent because they didn't have the proper technology or they couldn't log on. There are different codes, and I want you to please reach out to your parent coordinator, ma'am, because just because you cannot log on that day does not mean that you're still actively not, that you're not present. And they can share with you what other avenues to explore to ensure that your child is marked absent. Additionally, for the family that was replying about their child at Mark Twain Junior High School, I want to implore you to reach out to Isabel DeMola, my colleague, the superintendent of District 21, as Mark Twain falls within the District 21 guidelines, not District 20. So Ms. DeMola is very accessible, and you can find her email address right on the DOE website when you log on for your school. With that being said, I want to thank you for having me tonight. And if anyone should ever have any questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me at jobrien17@schools.nyc.gov. And I'd be happy to share any information that I have currently with you.
Dr. O'Brien, we had a couple other council members that had questions. Are you able to stick around for that? Great, thanks. You want to go Alice, and then I know Inga had a question, and then we can keep going. Alice, we can't hear you. Okay. If you want to type it, then we can read it out too. All right, Inga, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, Dr. O'Brien. Thank you for being here with us. I have a question also around the COVID testing, and thank you for sharing that updated information. I've heard from a number of parents that when, they saw that requirement to sign consent, they were very confused because it seemed that if you didn't sign the consent form, you would have to do remote learning. So I guess it would be helpful if you can clarify that to parents. I know a number of parents signed it, but really don't feel comfortable signing it because they were afraid their child would then be pushed into remote learning. Can you clarify that? So it's very helpful now that there's new guidance that if you sign it, but your child doesn't feel comfortable being tested in school, then you can, make that known to administration. But the question is, what happens if you don't sign it? Will your child be forced to go into the remote learning stream?
So the guidance I'm reading now, the answer is no, that they're going to try to work with other possibilities with each parent on a case-by-case basis. If you have an opportunity to look over the guidance that was just shared to all families, it does state that while consent to testing is not mandatory, providing our testing partners with sufficient monthly sample size is critical in the ongoing fight against the virus. We want to assure you that if your child is selected for testing but is uncomfortable, we will not test your child, and we will work with you to address any concerns so that you may participate in future testing. We are focused on making this a brief and gentle experience for our students, led by trained testers. Now, this is a stark contrast to what was said previously, that you may have to go to remote learning, which was shocking to many people that read that. However, this new guidance seemed to have they've backpedaled on this a bit, and they've re-released this today. So I'm anticipating that this will no longer be a concern. If you or your family do not want to be tested, it seems, according to this document, that they will not be tested.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. Simeon, and then Yifeng, Mauricia, and Alan and Alice, if you want to jump in.
Sure. Hi there. Can you tell us what the attendance has been like through remote learning and in person, and how many kids have not been accounted for that are supposed to be enrolled in the schools?
I'm sorry, Simeon, I don't have that information in front of me.
Do you have any sense of how many kids are unable to be identified and located at this point?
No, I wouldn't be able to speak off the cuff for something so important.
Okay. Can you talk to us a little bit about busing? So I had heard that the buses are capped at 25% capacity, and somebody said that the buses were going along their route, and as soon as they hit 25%, they would stop picking up kids and just take the kids they had to the school, leaving the other kids. Have you heard any problems with the busing? Is everybody getting picked up?
I'm sorry, Simeon, you broke up a little bit. Who said that?
I heard from a parent. It wasn't in our district. It was outside the district. But I was wondering if you could say, is busing picking up all the kids that are need it and able to get all the busing they can to the schools they need to get to?
So I haven't heard anything like that, Simeon. But I don't know. I wouldn't be able to speak intimately around busing tonight. If you would like, I could try to get some information for you from my colleagues and identify, some of your more concerns. We could talk offline. However, no, I've heard nothing about not picking up students that are on the route.
Okay. And the other question I had was, can you talk to us about training for teachers around trauma-informed curriculum and what's being done around that?
Certainly. So trauma-informed care has been something that's been already rolled out by the Department of Education this summer through the Office of the Chancellor. All principals were involved in a professional learning that took place over the course of 3 days. I believe it was in July or early August. This is something that's going to be a very real part of the curriculum going forward. But beyond that, I don't have any details to share.
Joe, can I just jump in here for a minute? So the TREP training that the principals took in the summer, all people in the school, all staff members have to take by November. So everybody is aware that this trauma-informed curriculum is very important and that it's on the table and everybody has to be trained.
Thank you, Mrs. Russo.
You're welcome, Dr. O'Brien.
Right, and hi, it's Jane Kapitanakis, and just adding on, every school had the opportunity to have another staff member trained so that we can start with the turnkeying. So some may have had that training already, and I believe it was going to be on for this month, for the month of September. Is that correct, Marge? We had the opportunity to send one person.
Yes, one person got 12 hours per session to be trained, and then they were going to turnkey it, but every staff member, including secretaries, everybody has to take the training by November.
Right, and most likely that'll wind up being a day like Election Day when we have a PD day for schools to implement this, because we really don't have a block of time other than that. So I hope
in addition to that, I just want to point out that District 20 has been on the forefront for social emotional learning for a number of years. You know, we've had the ruler programs. Jane, I know in your school you have the Leader in Me program. Everybody has these programs in this school, one form or another. So we are very well aware of the need for social emotional learning, especially at this time. And that's really due to Karina Constantino and Joe O'Brien that we really are on the forefront with that.
Great, thank you. Alice, do you want to try again?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I did nothing differently. Okay. I don't have a question anymore because Inga asked it. Sorry. So I'm all set. Thanks. Thank you for your
Alan, did you have a question? I saw your hand.
Yeah, a quick question, and anyone can answer this, any of the officials present, and that is, there was concern out of some of our schools in District 20 in Sunset Park about ventilation. And we are, and I understand that even some of our teachers demonstrated about this, and that I don't know the update on this, but I'd like to know if, you know, what is it that we're doing to ensure that we meet these proper protocols that other industries seem to have figured out, but, you know, we're a little bit behind on. So is there any update to ensure, given that that has been scientifically shown to be correlated with the spread of the virus? And related to that, and this is more sort of what, you know, what Vito was getting at, differently, we disagree on that point, but if we do follow that 3% threshold to go above it for those 7 days as per the policy, what's the plan? Are we ready for that? And I think, you know, parents deserve to know. So if we do need that. So those are two interrelated questions.
Sure, I can share what I know. At this time, the principals of PS 503 and 506 have been working closely with the School Construction Authority, along with their custodians and the plant managers, to ensure that the filters have been installed. Additionally, several emails that I've been privy to around the construction of and the development to ensure that there is ventilation in each of the rooms has been ongoing. With regard to the COVID spikes along the corridor, we're still awaiting guidance from our chancellor and the office of the first deputy chancellor as to what that would mean. I know many of you have seen the newspapers today. Notice that it is a source of contention for our labor partners, but it is something that is ongoing. And as we are prepared, our teachers, our assistant principals, and our principals are prepared to continue delivering the level of instruction that District 20 is known for.
Thank you. Yifeng and Mauricia, I just wanted to make sure, see if you had any questions or wanted to jump in. No, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah. Who is this?
This is Hong. I have. Can I ask a question now?
I'm sorry, we closed the public speaking portion now, but you can type in the chat box and we can make sure to share it with council and the district.
Oh, okay. So I just type in. Okay.
Yeah,
okay, fine. Thank you for.
Great.
Can I get my question back really quickly?
Yeah.
Dr. O'Brien, thank you again for joining us tonight. I just wonder if we have any numbers on if there are still children in our district that are do not have devices and are trying to scramble, you know, 3 different kids in a house on one smartphone, or has District 20 been able to distribute devices to all the children that need them?
Sure. So absolutely, there is not enough devices in District 20 at all. And we've been working closely with the Chancellor's office, along with many other districts simultaneously, to ensure that we can get some more devices. However, what I've learned is that many of the devices are sold out from Shop DOE and pretty much everywhere that we're learning. So this is an ongoing issue that we're working closely with our partners around, but it is a challenging one. to get these devices into the hands of our students is a paramount issue for us. And unfortunately, right at this time, the answer is no. There's not enough devices for our students. We have distributed everything that we have, and we're awaiting more from the Chancellor's office. Hopefully, we'll be able to get those in the hands of the families as soon as possible.
Just a quick follow-up. Is there anything that parents can do to help the parent community to help get devices? Has the Chancellor okayed PTA's fundraising for this? You know, I've heard that the iPads aren't ideal anyway, and a Chromebook might be better. I don't, just to put things out there, I've heard that the Apple interface with the iPad is not really working out so well with the Google Classroom. And that's why all the troubleshooting needs to happen in the first place, but maybe I'm wrong, you can correct me. But if there's anything the parent community can do, I'm sure that we'd all be happy to make sure all of our students can do their work.
I appreciate that, Alice. And you know, if that does come to pass, I will be reaching and leaning on the CEC to support our district and to ensure that those devices get in the hands of our students. And also, I'd like to ask, you know, of course, Senator Gennardis, who is on the line tonight, that he may be able to support us in this endeavor as well. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Do any other council members have questions?
We had one parent who asked about changing from blended to fully remote learning, and they wanted to know how long the transition will take and if their child will be able to continue on blended or if he will start remote learning right away.
So yeah, I can answer that as well. I would ask you to please contact your principal and share with, or first your parent coordinator or principal, that then they would share that with me in my office and we would get the ball rolling. It's usually a pretty fast process within 12 hours.
Okay. And another parent wanted to know where lunch would happen, if it would be in the class or in the cafeteria.
So I'm going to let my my colleagues, my principals, colleagues that are on the line right now answer that question.
So our children are eating a working lunch in the classroom because we don't want to cut into their instructional time. The day seems shorter, but the instructional time is not shorter. So we have a working lunch where we have another teacher or a para or school aide go in with the children and they do something fun but educational. So they do eat in the classroom. We don't bring them to the cafeteria because we have pods. Each classroom is a pod and we don't want to mix up the pods. We're keeping everybody separate. I have to say, I'm pretty amazed at how safe it is at this point. The kids are 6 feet apart. The classrooms are, you know, small class sizes. The kids wear their masks. They do get mask breaks during the day. That's really important for them. My experience so far has been that the kids have been very, very good about wearing those masks. It's almost like it's nothing to them, that they expect it. But they do get to take the mask off at lunchtime and have a working lunch, something fun, but something educational. They do not go to the cafeterias. I can only speak for my own school. That's what we do. Mrs. Kapitanakis maybe could chime in and say what she does in her school.
Thank you, Marge. We're doing the same. We are also in our classrooms during our day. I could show you a breakfast that they had, a breakfast in the classroom. So the children are well spaced out within the classroom. Everybody there, they have their masks on now as they were just getting ready. But it is, as Mrs. Russo has said, it is it's a learning time. We're there to learn. And, you know, we have our teachers there to support your children, and we're working through our lunch. We're focusing on the children's lunchtime to do an SEL kind of activity. So we are using that time as well for our SEL learning.
And the beauty of it is that it's fun. It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm working during my lunch, like some of us might think. It's fun for them, and it's also building up their social emotional well-being. So we're really very proud of what we're doing in District 20. And I know from my colleagues, that's going across the whole district.
Okay, and she's also asking, how is gym handled?
Did you want me to answer that, Dr. O'Brien?
Sure, please.
So that is a challenge. So in our school, and I can only speak for our own school, we have a certified phys ed teacher. Not every school has that, but we do have a certified phys ed teacher. And what we have scheduled is that the children get 47 minutes for lunch. They might do 20 minutes of lunch or 27 minutes of lunch, and then go out into the schoolyard to the fresh air with the gym certified teacher, the PE certified teacher, to do some kind of activity. For our remote students and for our other students, we have a full PE program up online. All our remote students are exposed to it. I think all of my colleagues are doing the same thing. This is the first year there are no mandates for physical education in New York State in a very long time. However, we feel that it's really necessary, and we feel that it's very important. So all of our children are being exposed to physical education activities, whether they are remote at home or they are in school in person.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Russo. And I really wanted to thank both you and Ms. Kapitanakis for coming on and being able to share this information, this key information, with our families. Thank you.
Dr. O'Brien, I have a follow-up question. There were some articles about schools where kids were going in person to the buildings and then being seated in front of computers to do remote learning while they were at their school, which sort of defeats the purpose of in-person. Are any of our schools doing that, doing remote learning at the school building? Or is everyone getting live instruction at their school building?
Yeah, I'm under the impression that the in-person, I don't know, Simeon, I've never heard of that before.
Okay. And the second question was, there were...
Simeon, I just want to tell you that if a student shows up on the wrong day, it's not their day to be in person, they could possibly be put online because we don't mix the pods. So they would be in school, but that's kind of an exception. We call the parents and pick them up and say, wait, today's not your child's day to be in school. So they might be online during that. But also I want to let you know that while we're in school, there are portions of the day where the teachers are doing online with the children in the classroom together, because if we go fully remote, we want them to be ready for that.
Gotcha. And I would also add that, for example, I have a therapist. One of our therapists is on full remote herself, and the child is actually in my, it's my self-contained special ed class, and we had the ability to offer full-time for those children. So her therapist has to Zoom with her, because the therapist is on fully remote. So again, that goes into that balance of how we're working things out and helping to meet the mandates of our children. So that may be something that happens as well.
Great. And my final question was, originally there was a minimum number of minutes of live instruction for students who were doing remote, and then that was backtracked on by the DOE in the agreement with the UFT. And I'm wondering, is the district tracking how many minutes of live instruction kids are getting for remote instruction, so we can keep an eye on that and make sure that kids are getting it? Because that was one of the parents' biggest concerns, was having access to teachers while their kids are at home.
So Simeon, I can answer that question. So at this time, the answer is no. We are not tracking that at this time. With the labor agreement with the UFT and the other labor partners, that is not something that is required any longer. Although there are opportunities for teachers that wish to do so, they may, and something that we're looking at to see how best that we could move forward in this next iteration of the district remote learning.
Great, thank you. Vito, did you have your hand raised again for a question? Yeah.
Yes, I just, I want to say that my daughter's in 7th grade and my 2 boys are in high school, and though high school is not in our District 20 CEC purview. It's instructive, I believe. I'm so happy. My daughter's remote, and she's getting 5 classes a day of her really core classes: English, math, social studies, and so on. Everybody is live. All the kids are the same. It's a wonderful experience, as much as a pandemic can be. My sons, both of them, they had their first 2 days at Brooklyn Tech. So they were there sitting at their desk with a handful of kids, and on the remote Zoom were the rest of the kids in their class, right? So we have 33 kids in a class, no more than 33. So Ellen, you'd be happy about that. And the kids who are in the school are learning the same exact things as the kid that are remote. And I'm sorry, that's the gold standard. Okay, both 187 and Brooklyn Tech, that's the gold standard. And I don't know why it hasn't been standardized across the city. And that's something that I'm sure is above all of our pay grades, but that's something that we should all be telling our politicians we want something like that. But that was just a shout out. What I do want to say—
Vito, may I respond to you, please? May I respond?
Were you done speaking?
Yeah, muted himself by accident.
Hello, I didn't mute myself. That same thing happened to Alice. I don't know why. You're sure, Ellen? Just give me a minute.
Okay.
So what I do keep circling back to is the kids who are younger and the kids with special needs. And I don't have an answer for how to have the similar experience with those kids. And I'm wondering, I know we have our great principals here, and I don't know if Ms. Bernardis is left. How do we, and the parent who spoke, Ms. Wong, really, that's what she was going on. How do we really make it so that a remote learning experience is significant for those younger children and those children with special needs who are home? And does anybody have any best practice anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, I don't really care, to answer that question?
Vito, I can tell you I was in a 3rd grade self-contained classroom this morning, and there were only 4 children in the classroom because those are the 4 who chose in-person learning. And the computer was open, and on that computer was every other child that's associated with that class. And they were doing the work together. And I walked in, and the teacher said to me, because in my school, we recite our mission statement every morning. And she said, "Oh, Mrs. Russo, you just missed it. We just had the best mission statement recitation ever." So I can tell you in a lot of schools in District 20, exactly what you're looking for is happening. It's happening.
That's the gold standard, ma'am. And I'm so happy that we're applying. But what about the kids that we're missing? And that's what Simeon was getting to. What can we do? Is there anything we can do to reach out to them?
I have to tell you, I think our principals and our parent coordinators and our APs are working hard in every school in District 20. And Dr. O'Brien can attest to this because he's in touch every day with every principal, working very hard to contact those parents who don't have their kids online, who aren't responding. I can tell you, I've had my parent coordinator personally go to people's houses. My AP go personally to people's houses to say, "Why aren't you online? You don't have a device? Let's give you a device." The biggest problem is the Wi-Fi. We can give them all the devices we have, but if they don't have the Wi-Fi, the device is useless to them, right? So that's where we need the Department of Education we need to put the pressure there. But I know Dr. O'Brien's been doing that because I've seen the results of it in my school.
Thank you so much, Margaret. Listen, I know you're working your butt off. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody else out there that's doing the same.
And Vito, we really have to if this is the situation that we're dealing with, and I think that this is something some of the other board members were talking about too, how could we rethink the situation? So like core curriculum, for example, that's from the state monies that it's given to schools to help support our kids. We needed core curriculum money this year to be able to be used for those devices. And devices with Wi-Fi. See, the things the city was handing out, those tablets had Wi-Fi that were able to connect to cellular. So they had a cellular access. So it was able to work for all of our kids. And that's what we need more of. So if I could have spent my core curriculum money, my NISTL funding on more devices like that for my children, you bet that that's where all of the money would have gone to. So that this way we could assure, but we don't have that kind of funding. And that is where the schools and the families really can join together, because how could we help fix it? How is one of the main basic things is making sure that everybody has access. And that means that we have to have those funds to order those things. But putting like those devices in core curriculum should be a first step, because that's what I needed.
And going forward, after we get rid of COVID, we need to think about this, because that's equity. That's equity, that every kid has a device in their house that is Wi-Fi enabled. That is equity. And that we need to think like that.
And I just want to chime in as well. You were speaking about our early learners. So the pre-K budgets do not afford us the opportunity to be able to purchase any devices for the children. And I spoke before about having over 50% of our incoming pre-K children choosing remote-only instruction. And so we have lobbied City Hall and the mayor's office to be able to provide us. I can tell you that in my program alone, I have close to 400 children who whose families requested devices, and we are now seeing some of those devices being delivered. Today I delivered about 32 devices to various sites. So it is happening. It's slower than what we would want it to be, but it is starting to happen. So
Thank you, Diane. But maybe there's no answer. I mean, that's an acceptable thing to say. But how do you really address Ms. Wong's problem where you have kids that are just too young to be really self-sufficient? Is there any way out there that we could help those parents who their kids in the living room trying to do remote, and maybe they have a device, they're online, but they're too young to do it by themselves? Or are we just going to say, listen, that's the way it is right now. We need a parent or a caregiver there, and that's just the way it is. And if it is that way, we should say that.
Well, obviously it is that way. I mean, you know, children who come to my program are 3.9 years old.
I know.
You know, and so you can't expect them to be proficient on using any kind of a device. But the way that we structure our program is that, you know, we obviously don't have the children online for great amounts of time because their attention span does not warrant that. But we create a lot of support for parents to be engaged in activities where they can learn along with their children. You know, we record all of our group meetings, our small group meetings. They're all recorded. So if parents are working and children are being cared for by elderly grandparents or the like, the parents can still engage with their children later on in the evening and not miss out on anything. And so that's the way that we're approaching this. That's the only way that we can really approach it. You know,
does anybody have any outside the box idea that crazy stuff even that we're not thinking of that maybe that might work? I mean, anywhere.
But Vito, look at it also in that, look at what the DOE model went to. Most of the schools, if you remember, and you know, you've been through so many of the schools in our district in your time at CEC. You know, there's schools that had desktop computers. There's schools that had laptops in the classroom, some that only had it on a cart, some that have moved over to iPads. And when the DOE made their changes, they went with the iPad that came loaded with the programs that the children would need. And it is a simpler swipe than having to deal with the, you know, booting up the laptop in the same way. So we may have to look at what technology fits grades K to 2. What technology is a better fit for grades 3 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 12? What types of programs are a better fit for those age groups? So that, as I said to you, if we're rethinking what core curriculum is going to look like, if we start at a basis of what technology works for what age group, and I got to tell you, they sell like digital devices for infants practically. I mean, any mom or dad on the screen will tell you, you know, I'm proud to have 2 grandchildren, and there's little things for them available, like from a very early start. So our kids really do catch on, but there's age appropriate levels. And so maybe that's a way that we could start looking at it.
Thank you so much. And listen, unintended consequences, you know, maybe we're all going to learn from this and really move forward. Like Margaret said, you know, equity.
We are going to learn from it, and we are going to rethink how we're doing things and do what makes sense. But health and safety has to come first. Part of that health and safety is going to be making sure that we're taking care of our children and we're taking care of each other.
Great.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien and other officials who are on, Natalia and I are getting a bunch of questions in the chat. A lot of them are very specific to people's experiences at their school, whether it's their device is not working and they're calling a number and they're not getting help with it, or there's a differentiation in experience. They have one child at one school, one at another, and one's getting 5 hours of live instruction, one's getting less than 2 hours. How can we help these parents direct their questions to the right people to get more understanding and learn more about why their child is having the experience that they're having, or how they can get a device fixed? What's the best way we can share that information here for parents with all these specific questions?
Well, certainly, and I can definitely attest to the fact that here in District 20, we have some of the finest parent coordinators in the world. These are individuals that are working tirelessly night and day to try to ensure that the parent and school connection are the strongest that they can be. I want to encourage all families that are struggling with, let's say, a device, or let's say with issues that in their classroom, to reach out to their parent coordinator. These people are the folks on the ground that will be able to hear them, be able to direct them to who they need to speak with, and hopefully get that issue resolved as soon as possible.
So Natalia, maybe something we can do this week is collect the email or the contact for parent coordinators of D20 schools and share that out either on the website or on Facebook, just so people can see who they could contact at their school in case they don't know.
Can we also follow up? Apparently there's some people that are asking for clarification about the testing and refusing to give consent. Can you clarify that if someone does not give consent for their child to be tested, will they be allowed to stay in person? And some people said that they thought you said that they can stay in person, but the DOE website says if the families who do not provide consent may be required to participate in remote-only learning. So is there a policy in District 20 that if you do not give consent, you will be allowed to stay in person? Or is this something that may happen or may not?
So I'm following the same guidelines that everyone is reading on the updated guidance. The may is obviously a source of concern. However, it does clearly state that if you do not want to be tested, that the child will not be tested. And that's what I was answering in my question earlier. I can't speak to what the may mean, as I did not write this document, but I can assure you, based on what I'm reading, is that it says that if parents do not want and their child feels uncomfortable doing this, that this will not be fostered upon them.
Okay, just so to be clear though, they don't have to take the test, but if they do not take the test, they may be required to leave the school and do remote learning only.
Yes, that's what the website says.
Okay.
I can't speak to what the may means, but it does say here indeed just that. But I don't know what the ramifications would be or what situations that would require that. Yeah, I'm going on the same.
Some parents were just a little confused about what was being said, so I just wanted it to be very clear. So I think we're all clear now.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
Great, thank you. And one final, I don't know if you can help us with this, but lots of us received the EBT cards in the mail, and I think some parents want to know, is that for every student, is every student getting an EBT card, or the detail you can provide around that. Should they still expect it if they haven't received it?
So to my knowledge, EBT cards is something that's done centrally. I don't have any information for you on that for the families here in District 20.
Okay, great. We'll maybe try to do a little research on that, Natalia, and see if we can share anything out with parents through our website or through Facebook. Do council members have any other questions? Alice? Oh, Alice. Type it.
I just really want to thank the principals that joined us tonight, Ms. Gunardis, Ms. Kapitanakis, and Ms. Russo. Thank you ever so much. Your knowledge is so welcome, and thank you so very much for helping us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for joining. It was really great to have you and have your insights here. I think they were really valuable for everyone. And I made a mistake. I posted the wrong email address in our chat. I'm sorry, I'm not having good chat night. It's cec20.schools.nyc.gov, not nyc.schools.gov. So Natalia, if you can post it correctly again to everyone, that would be great. And I just wanted to say that we, all right, posted in the chat box, but if you have additional questions, please email them to us as well. And Natalia can help direct them to the right people in the district, and we'll do our best to get that parent coordinator contact up. And so everyone knows, our next meeting is October 14th. Same time, same place. Be there. So in the meantime, if you have any other questions, please feel free to email us, and we'll help direct those questions. Anyone else have anything to add before we close out? Great. With that, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I can motion.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you,
joining
everyone.
us.
Thank you, Dina.
Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Night.
Thank you all.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.